Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. So today we continue to study about the life of Buddha. So last time we discussed about how two chief disciples of the Buddhas, Venerable Shariputra and Moggallana, became monks, and both of them were considered as the chief disciple of the Buddha. So during that times, in total, the Buddha has 1250 disciples that have attained arahantship. That means all of them became holy monks. And of course, like before, the Buddha encouraged them to go in different directions to spread his teachings for the sake of other people. And somehow on the full moon of the third month, all of them came back to the bamboo grove without any formal meeting. So they came back without planning to deport to the Buddha. How they went out to spread the Buddha teaching. And we know that the king, Bhimsara, offered the Buddha that bamboo tree grove so that Buddha and his disciple could stay there, especially during the rainy season or the time that they want to stay back to listen to Buddha teaching. That's why 1250 of them together came back to see the Buddha as once. And due to that occasion, the Buddha provide them the teaching, what we call the patimoksha instruction. And that's been the code to practice to get liberation from the mind, from attachment. So he provides the basic teaching, like do not do any evil, to practice all wholesome, purify the mind from defilements. So in the Theravada traditions, it's called the Dhamma Respect Festival every year. So at that time, the Buddha asked his disciple to organize the monastic communities, how to live together. That's why he provides the code of liberation, the code of discipline for them to live together. And that was considered as the first ever monastery in Buddhism. And that's one of the early establishment of the monastic communities in Buddhism. And from that time on, it spreads out everywhere. So basically, at first, the Buddha allowed his disciple to wander around to teach, but during the summer season or rainy season, he made the rules uh, that all monks need to stay in one place for the rainy retreats with many purposes. The most important purpose is to stay in one place so that they can uh, encourage each other to do the practice, uh, and especially that's the second question reason that in non-India during the rainy season there's many insects on the road, so the monks uh, stay indoor instead of going out to step on those insects, small creatures. So the main reason again is to stay back to support and encourage each other to uh, develop the spiritual path, work on the spiritual paths. Because for the 9 months, they wander around without much community support. So the 3 months of summer retreat or training retreat are the times for them to come together, to study, practice, and encourage others to do uh, meditation and learn Buddha Dharma. So later on, this type of monastic communities model spread everywhere, and eventually, especially for the Mahayana Buddhist monks, they settle down in one place at the monasteries most of times, uh, depend upon the weather, the climates, and the conditions of the country that Buddhism spread to. So in East Asia, like China, Vietnam, and so forth, most of the time, the monks stay indoor in the monastery. They would not go out to beg for food, like if there are monks in Thailand, Burma, Sri Lanka, and so forth. So no matter what, they still follow the similar code discipline. So let me show you. There's some type of Buddhist chanting within the Buddhist monastery. And if you visit any Buddhist monastery, you see there's some kind of schedule. Usually the monks they wake up early to do the chanting and meditation. And for the Theravada monks, after that they would go out to beg for food. During noontime, they would consume the food, and they're not supposed to eat in the evening. For the Mahayana Buddhist monks in some country, they uh, don't go out to beg for food, but they do cultivation of planting rice, gardening work, and so forth. Of course, they still keep up with the schedule, get up early and meditate during the day or at night, especially in some Zen monastery. Sometimes they do intense Zen retreat. So it depends where Buddhist practice in the southern traditions. They would go out to beg for food in North tradition, they would not, because the weather is too cold in northern part of China, Tibet, and so forth. And plus, especially in China, there's no tradition to bake for food, because um, if someone bake for food, it's like bakers. They would be despair and be looked down by the general public, and there's no way for them to teach others. But in India, it's quite different, because in general, only the one that let go of the status of wealth to become a wandering monks. So that's why they were respected by the local people or communities. So each nation has different tradition and custom. And so Buddhism adapt into that type of custom and traditions accordingly. So let me show you some video clips about how the monk pray together at Sun Temple. And this is the Tibetan center. This is the Tibetan style of chanting, and this is the Chinese style of chanting at the monastery, especially early in the morning. So let's try big bell. They recite the Buddha Sutra. Okay, and another one is the chanting for the three refuges and five pieces by the Theravada monks.
Kamesu Itatara Verakmani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami. Musavada Verakmani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami. Musavada Verakmani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami. Durateraya Matavamagadhana Veramani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami. Surameraya Matavamagadhana Veramani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami. Imani Pancha Sikkhapadani Silena Sutta Sinyanti Silena Bhoga Sampata Silena Niputinyanti Gatsama Silang Vitsodayi. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let's bow 3 times. Deepak.
Okay, so this type of taking three refuge and practice as a Theravada Buddhist monastery. So uh, that's how the Buddhist monastery communities developed from the time of Buddha up to now. So I just want to mention briefly. So go back to the story. During that time, one day, the Buddha went out to pay for food early in the morning as usual, but somehow he encountered uh, a, uh, a layman um, at Raja Ram. So uh, this young man, his name is Siga Lakha. So somehow early in the morning, he put his palm together and bow in different directions. So the Buddha approached to him and asked what he's doing. Why do you wake up early in the morning to bow to different directions? So this young man, he replied that my father's, before he passed away, he told me to do so. So out of respect of my father's uh, will, I honor and practice this type of bowing in 6 directions. So the Buddha say, well, that's good for you to uphold the family traditions as the way that your fathers advised you to do so, but there's not a way for you to do better. So this young man, he asked, can you teach me in the proper way? Uh, so the Buddha say that listen carefully, uh, young man. I, I will explain to you. Uh, you should first abandon the foul before the farmer's action by not doing evil from focuses, by not following the 6 ways of wasting one substances. So after that, Buddha list out the four defilements of action that need to be abandoned, like killing, stealing, commit sexual misconduct, or lying. So these are the defilements that we need to let go or stay away. Uh, so he mentioned further that what are the causes of evil that we need to restrain. So the Buddha explained that the evil action come from attachment, anger, uh, poverty, and fear. So any uh, action that come from the craving, anger, fear, uh, we need to stay away. So who breaks the law through this would lose their reputation like the moon at the one in state, desire, hatred, fear, and so forth would cover or cloud the mind. They would never yield any goodness and retribution like the moon at the waxing time. And he go further. There are 6 ways of wasting one substance. The first one is addiction. from strong drink or illegal drugs. So again, it's really common sense. And so we know that if we drink alcohol, if we use illegal drugs, it will be harmful for our body and mind. That's why here the Buddha say that if we addicted with alcohol and illegal drugs, we will lose our wealth because we spend the money on liquor and drugs. Uh, so when we are intoxicated, we lost our good characters, mm, and it's easy to uh, increase the anger and fighting. So chronic consumption maybe result in impaired intelligence and susceptibility to disease. So here the Buddha explained clearly, and we understand uh, easily that as much as we engage in drinking alcohol or taking drugs, it will be harmful for our body and mind. Our body may have some kind of illness or disease. Uh, Mentally, we cannot control our mind. The next one, the Buddha mentioned that if we hang around on the street at the unfitting times, there should be danger. Uh, so if we wander out in late hours um, uh, and that person, uh, family members like children and wife, may be danger too. They're not at home to protect their family members. Their properties may be in danger because it's without guard protection, and that person may be suspected of wrong deeds. Uh, Many trouble will befall upon that person. That's when the Buddha remind that as much as we hang around on the street late midnight, uh, it may bring some problems for us. People may suspect that we do something wrong, and no one protect our family members, like the wives and children. No one protect our properties at midnight if we hang around on the street at midnight. That's the second one. And the next one is attend the show. That means if someone go to the show or any place that has entertainments, they will waste their money and times. They will get distraction easily, and instead of working on things that they're supposed to do. So that means if they hang around on the street too much, if they attend the show, entertainment, and the show of entertainments, they might be distracted and they would not focus much on their business, working or studying. And that's why the Buddha remind us to stay away from those acts. And the next one is being addicted to gambling. It's been gambling addiction. So the Buddha said that whoever addicted with gambling would lose their wealth and drain their resources and wealth in gambling. And so no one trusts uh, their words in the court of law. Uh, that person will be looked down by friends and others. They will uh, have some marital issue, um, especially when they in debts, uh, or they get turned down uh, by creditors. So they could not or may not sustain their marriage easily. So again, the Buddha gives the warning for those who engage in gambling, that they may lose their wealth. No one trusts the person. No one respect the person, especially if they are in debt, and they could not um, uh, have the stable families and marriage. Um, and the fifth one is keeping bad friends. That means if we associate with gamblers, bad people, drinker, cheater, swindler, men of violence, and so forth, they would catch on and pick up those bad habits and behave the same way. So this bad habit will result in loss of wealth, loss of jobs, and the family issue after that. That's mean Buddha advice us in common sense that we need to stay away from those bad influences, from gambling, drinker, theater, violent people, and so forth. And the last one, the Buddha reminds us that we need to recognize someone that has habitual patterns uh, uh, of laziness. So that person may excuse themselves from working, like they may excuse themselves from whether it's too hot or too cold, it's too early or too late, too hungry or too full, and so forth. They would not go to work with those excuses. So that means they could not get the job done. No one can hire them. This is to be fired, uh, would result in loss in the wealth. So these are the six ways of wasting one's wealth, energy, and health. So again, the Buddha reminds us that we need to stay away from alcohol, illegal drugs, addiction. We may, that's number one. Number two, we may uh, stay away from hanging around on the street at midnight. Um, that's number two. Number three is um, don't engage in entertainments so much. Uh, the four is need to stay away from gambling. Number five is to stay away from bad um, friends. And the last one is that we need to change our habitual patterns of being lazy. So that's the Buddha uh, advice for that young man. And the next one, the Buddha uh, gave the advice on the friendship. Uh, Friendship is so important in our life. No one can live alone in isolation. No one can live without friends. So uh, uh, friends, uh, friendship can be cemented by generosity, courtesy, benevolence, empathy, and timely intervention when in need. So the Buddha advised to this young man, there are four types of enemies uh, in guise of friendship, and four kind of real friends. So the Buddha lists out uh, four foes, four enemies um, pretend to be friends. And the first one is greedy friends. That means who take everything that he can get and give back little as uh, he can. He associates only with gain, only pursues his own interest. So that means if we recognize some friends that they just care for themselves, they don't want to share much, they want to take in more. They just pursue their own interests. They don't care much about other people surrounding them. That's type of friends that are list out as the greedy friends. And the next one is lip service friends. That means he only express friendly word as regard for the past or future. They try to gain favor by empty promise. When the opportunities come, uh, they would say they would not have ideas to do as promised. So this means this type of friends, they get promise in word. They don't want to do anything else. They have the empty promise. Um, uh, they just try to gain in favor for themselves. Mm. There's a lip service friends. And number three is flattery friends. That means the one that mm, uh, praise someone in the front, but speaking ill in the back. Uh, so it's been in front of their friends, they would praise their friends. When in their back, they would say or criticize or slander their own friends. That has been the flatterer of friends that we need to be careful. And the next one, the last one, number four, is fellow master. That means this person uh, uh, have some bad habit like drinking, gambling, and so forth. So uh, that person like to hang around on the street midnight uh, and enjoy any kind of entertainments without working much. So that's the fellow waster. That means they waste their times. So these are the four types of friends that the Buddha say we need to stay away from, especially for lay people. And mm, on the other hand, the Buddha lists out four types of real friends that we can hang around with. The first one is helper. That means that person will guard their friends like the guard that protect their friends' properties. Um, they would become a refuge when in need for other people. Um, when there's someone need help, they will step out to help to protect their friends. He or that person will provide uh, anything that their friends need uh, to get help, and that's the helper. Basically, that type of friends is willing to step out to help their friends in any circumstances that they can without any kind of hesitation. And number two, friends who share the same wealth and who this mean this person will tell his secret and in return keep the secret of his friends. So they do not turn back to his friends when in trouble, and he would even sacrifice his life for his friends. And so, no matter what happened, this type of friends can share the secret, can sacrifice their life to the friends. They would not turn their back to their own friends. That's what's meant by the friends we share uh, in difficulties and in the happiness times. Number three, friends who give good counseling. That means this kind of friends would remind or warn other friends for wrongdoing. They would encourage his friends to do the right thing, inform his friends what he has not heard before, and review to his friends the way to develop good karma. Has been this kind of friends who give some kind of counseling for the friends. Um, if they see the friends make a mistake, they would remind them not to do. Uh, if uh, they have not heard anything yet, this kind of friends would give them some advice and counseling, and they encourage um, their friends to do the right thing, to do a good karma. That is a friends who give the good counseling. And number four, friends of sympathies. That's been the person or that kind of person would not enjoy over their friend's misfortune, but he will rejoice over his friend's prosperity and restrain anyone who speaks ill of his friends and cheer anyone who praise his friends. There has been this kind of friends would support others in a positive way. He would rejoice his friends' uh, success and stop anyone that speak ill toward his friends, uh, and he would encourage other people to praise his friends. So these are the friends who are sympathized to his friends. So these are the four real friends: the helper, the friend who share difficulties as well as happiness, a friends who give good counseling, a friends who sympathize to his friends. And after that, the Buddha uh, give the advice to this young man uh, about the six type of directions that he needs to respect based upon the way that this young man bound in direction according to his father will. Uh, so the Buddha explained to this young man that uh, they need to respect the friends and courage in the north. That means we should treat friends with kind words, generosity, consideration of their welfare. We treat them equally, impartially, and we treat them uh, with the truthfulness. Uh, and in return, friends should provide protection uh, uh, for each other when their friends are vulnerable. They would need to protect their friends' properties, become the refuge when their friends are afraid, not forsaking their friends when their friends are in danger, and they should show the consideration of their friends' families. So this type of friends we need to have. We need to develop that kind of behavior and that kind of relationship. And in the South, the Buddha provide the teaching, the relationship between teacher and student. So there are 5 ways. The student should show respect to the teachers by raising from their seat in circulation, waiting upon them, showing the eager to learn, have the personal service and attentive learning. This is the Buddhist and Eastern traditions to show respect to a teacher. So when the teacher comes to class, most of the time the student would stand up and salute the teacher, and they have to wait upon the teacher to make signal for them to sit down with respect, and they have to show that they have eager willingness to learn. They need to provide the service and having the attentive learning attitude. That means they should have the willingness to learn from teachers. In return, the teacher should care for the student by teaching and training well, ensure those teachings are well understood, instruct their teachings in every branch of knowledge, speak well of them among the friends and companions, and provide the student the safety in every way. That's mean as a teacher, they should have that type of responsibility. They need to transfer or teach all the things that the students is supposed to learn. They have to have the willingness to share any knowledge that they may have in that subject. And on the top that they need to give the protection for their own students' safety. So these are the relationship between the teacher and student. And that represents the South. And in the East is the relationship between the parents and the children. Again, this one is in accord with the Eastern tradition as well as the Buddhist tradition. So Buddha advised that a child should support his parents who support him, maintain the family lineage and traditions, perform necessary duties to the parents. They should be worthy of inheritance and transference merit in due times. Has been a child or the children need to support their parents, and they should maintain the family lineage and traditions. They need to perform their responsibility as son or daughters at home. The next one is most of the time the Asian parents would pass down their inheritance wealth to their children. So their children need to be worthy of taking those inheritance. And the last one is that when their parents pass away, they need to do the prayer for their parents' disease or soul too. So that is the responsibility of the children. And for the parents, they need to have the duty to teach their own children and remain uh, remind their children from wrongdoing, guide them toward a good action, train them for the profession, support for the choice of a suitable spouse, and hand over uh, the inheritance at the due times. So these are the five responsibilities of the parents they should have. So first of all, they need to restrain their own children the wrongdoing. Uh, so they need to teach them not to engage in a kind of wrongdoing. And the second one, they need to guide their children to do the good deeds, uh, to perform good action. And number three, they need to train or provide education for their children to study and to get some profession. And number four, they support the choice for a suitable spouse. That's mean in the East, sometimes the parents uh, pick up the spouse for their own children, and of course now they would support their own children to pick their own spouse. Uh, and the last one is hand over their inheritance in due time. And most of the Asian parents would pass down their wealth to their own children. And here the Buddha advises that they need to pass a type of inheritance of wealth at the proper times. So these are the five responsibilities that the parents should have. So since time is up, let me stop here today. We'll discuss further about this sutra